So, hey, Boston buddies, welcome again to the Good Friday edition of Brunch with Boston Buddies today. I think we're all honored to have Jacqueline Gareau, running icon, 1980 Boston Marathon winner, but then also all-around great person as well. She is gratefully she has accepted the invite. She's on the hot seat today, so hopefully we are have a great interview and you'll come back. So I just wanted to say, how are you doing these days? How are you holding up under the current situation we're in?
Well, I take advantage of this period to do a good cleanup in my house, which I didn't have much time before because I was working pretty hard as a massage therapist and then running and doing all kind of sports. So never had time too much for that. Now I do. So me and my husband we're still working a little bit. He was working part-time in a sports store, and I was working pretty much like quite many hours during the week. So it kept us busy and not much time to do good cleanup. And now it's getting very nice, this house.
That's great. Now, your husband was your coach? Is that?
He was a good advisor, I would say. It was not my coach, but he read a lot, and himself he used to run pretty good. He became a marathoner, and he did 2:48 for a marathon. And he's the one who brought me to Boston when I won in 1980. He's the one who says, Jacqueline, why don't you come to because I was third in New York and I was going to do Ottawa again. And then he said, you've got to go to Boston. And that's how I met him. He talked to my coach at that time. He said, what is she doing? And then I finally came to Boston with him, and that's how our relationship started. And then later on, he's a wise guy, and he read a lot of books, and then so he was giving me pretty good advice. I had some coaches, but never. I'm not coachable very well. I'm like a wild horse, so.
Okay.
I'm a stubborn girl, so I like to do my way more than listening to a training plan. So, but with him, it went very well. So, good advisor, I would say.
We're very similar. My coach would probably say the same thing about me. I like to do what I like to do. I
make some mistake because of that, though, because sometimes I had lots of endurance, lots. I think I'm tested with over 95% slow twitch fibers. So with that, I work. It was my quality, but I can still do some speed work and then do a lot of endurance work. And sometimes it was out of balance.
Okay.
Like I told you, this picture behind me, it talks about balance. And so whenever you're in balance, everything goes well. If you lose your balance, your body, your heart, something will tell you, and then it won't go well anymore. So
right.
We have to keep this balance.
Right. I agree. It's hard. It's hard.
It's pretty tough, especially as an athlete who is at the top, If we're at the top, it's because we're a little bit extreme sometimes.
Right. So, it's like the A personality.
Yeah. So I need a coach not to push me, but to restrain me.
There you go.
And I didn't have that kind of coach too much, but my husband was pretty good. Sometimes I got lost in the wood, and he looked at me, he said, you got lost again. I was doing too much.
I've also tried to get my wife to start running, and I said, "Oh, I'll be your coach. I'll be your coach." And I think we'll land in divorce court if that actually ever happens.
Okay.
Yeah. So how about one thing that we do on the page is we always ask people what got them started into running and like why they started running. So when was the first time you said you were a runner? What made you start running?
Okay, my story is a little bit similar to some runners like Bill Rogers. I was smoking.
Okay.
But I was 21 and I was working as a respiratory technician. And then finally, I saw so many patients dying with the cigarette in their mouth.
Yeah.
It was tragic. And I look at that, I say, boy, it's not so good because, in 76, 77, about 75, I started working as a respiratory technician in 73. And so it was not so well known that we shouldn't smoke.
Right.
So I was smoking a bit. And then finally I said, wow, that's not so good. So I started jogging with a friend. And from then I liked it.
Okay.
And then I kept up it and gave up the cigarette. So endorphin instead of nicotine.
Okay.
And that's how I started really.
And so you started around 76, 77? Is that?
Yeah, I started, let me see. My first marathon that I tried was in 77. So I started running in 74.
Okay. 74.
So I was 21 year old. Yeah.
So 70,
I was
70,
21.
wow, 74. So it really didn't take that long for you to become an elite marathoner.
No, that's right. And, I think I give advice to people, don't rush into too much speed work because I became good without doing so much speed work. I built up a good base, a good foundation. And later on in my life, I went to New Zealand. I was advised by Arthur Lydiard. And then that's what they do with the Lydiard pyramid. You build up a good base before you do all other stuff.
Right.
So in some way, my body was good, had lots of a good foundation. And so I became better. Of course, I was doing some stuff that was faster, but not that much. I was more on endurance workout at that time.
Longer periods of time at a slower pace.
Slower pace or maybe tempo pace sometimes. It's a bit far, but I'm sure there was some shorter, like 1 hour run that probably looked like tempo right now.
Okay.
Without noticing it. I was sometimes I didn't have much time to train because I was a respiratory technician and I lived near the Mont Royal, so it goes up and then it goes down. It was a perfect training for Boston. And then I remember doing it pretty quick sometimes. I was looking at my watch and finally I kind of did some faster stuff, but not shorter intervals. Mostly it was good tempo run with long runs.
Okay. And shoes back then, they really didn't have like great running shoes. Like they didn't have the Nike 4% or the Vaporflies or anything.
No. But I ran with some Nike one time. It was called the Air something.
Okay.
AI Air, and so, but it was not the same with carbon and stuff like that. But the shoes were okay, I guess. I'm still not running with that kind of shoes. I don't think I will get it.
Okay.
I have no purpose in some way to score anymore. Not so much.
I got you. You're enjoying it. Yeah. You're just enjoy it. Yeah. That's great. So you had said you came in third in the New York Marathon. What year was that?
In 79.
79. Okay.
I started winning some races. I won The first one I ran in 77. I ran because a guy, I was running with him long runs because I was enjoying running. That's it. And he said, you know, you should run marathon. You look so fresh after the running 3 hours with me. I said, what is marathon? And then he explained me how long it was. And I said, okay, I can do that. So my first marathon was near Quebec City, a very nice island called Ile d'Orléans. And I ran 3 hours 44. It was very warm there. Everybody told me, don't go too fast. And so I ran 3 hours 44. I was very happy. I was third. And then I went to Ottawa 6 months later and I ran 3:07. So I was very happy with my time. And then the next marathon I did was going back to Ile d'Orléans, and then I won in 2:59. I broke the 3 hours. The second year I started running marathon. And so then Ottawa again, I ran 2:47, and then I won, and then I won Montreal in 79. And then that's when I got a call from Fred Lebeau, and he said, hey, we want you in our marathon. And, you know, I was a naive little runner from Quebec, and I had no purpose of traveling to run marathon. But then I said, wow. And he was giving me some money also to run. At that time, it was under the table. So I said, wow, this is great. So I went there and I was third.
Oh, wow.
And I had the number 22. No, I didn't have the number, not 22. I had it in Boston in April. So it started very quick, you know, without wanting that.
Right. You only had like 5 or 6 marathons under your belt at that time, it sounds like. That's amazing. You knocked off.
Yeah, no, I know. And that's why I think maybe the secret was to have this good endurance and maybe genetic, of course.
Right. That's amazing. So Fred Lebeau, he actually called you.
Yeah, he called me. It was really something.
That's amazing. And then 1979, did they run it through all the boroughs in 1979? Or was it in the park?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
It was in the park. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's quite, like, that's very early on. This is what, the 50th running of it. So that was only about the 10th running or so of that marathon, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Something like that. That's great. So you went from 3:44 to 3:07. So you're saying you're doing these endurance runs. Would you do interval training and things like that as well, where you get on a track?
As a matter of fact, my first kind of coach, you know, because he had a store, he was selling running stuff, and he was manufacturing also some shorts. And so I started with this cloth, and then he was going on track during the winter, and I started running on track a little bit. So yes, I was doing some stuff like 200 or 400 beside all the endurance work. And sometimes he was discouraged because when I started running, I started loving being in the outdoors. And I love cross-country skiing. So sometimes I was taking a day off from my work because it was so nice outside. And then I was going to the country doing like 3 hours cross-country ski. And then I was ending up at the track doing my intervals in the afternoon. And my coach just looked at me like very discouraged. He said, Jacqueline, don't do that. It's too much. But I was doing that. So I was a crazy girl, I guess.
That's amazing. Now what would you do for nutrition during the race? Like, you know, they didn't have goo or things like that. Like, would you?
No, I'm trying to remember, you know. Oh, wow. I know for certain races in like marathon, I was having my Defies Coke. I like that.
Okay.
it was like caffeine with sugar. So
Right.
that worked great for me. And beside that, I think it was water and Coke. There was no gel in my pocket in that time.
You didn't take in any calories other than Coke. Wow. Okay.
No, I don't. I don't think they were giving Gatorade. So
Okay.
I have a feeling that it's weird. It's weird, but I think I was not doing so much sweet beside the Coke.
Gotcha. Okay. And then so you started out in the the Canadian marathons, and you ran New York, and then you came to Boston 1980. And you ran that year. You ran it. Obviously, there was the Rosie Ruiz controversy, which we don't have to talk about that. I think I would.
That's okay, and I think everybody knows. We can talk a bit, but
right. I would just say
I don't mind, but
you handled that with a lot of grace, and you always handled that with a lot of class. And I think that your example could be shown to a lot of people of how to handle a situation. You can't control what happens.
No, that's right.
How you react. Yeah.
And then there was so much out of it, all the interviewers. Catherine Switzer was there on the press truck and saying I was first. So I was really sure I was first. And she came to me after the race, interviewed Rosie, and then everybody knows about this interview, or if you haven't, it might be on Google. Catherine was great at interviewing Rosie Ruiz and then doubting really quickly that she hasn't run the race. So it was like Bob Anderson from Runner's World. He told me, for me, I was going back to Quebec without being recognized, but he told me, for me, you're the winner right away.
Right.
So I knew I won, so it wasn't all that bad. And the rest is history, and poor Rosie in some way.
Right. It's just it. It is what it is, and you never know what people are going through. So something else is happening with her. So
that's
it's
right.
a shame. Yeah. But at the time that you ran it, you set the record for the course record for women that day.
Yes.
Right? 2:34.
2:34. 27 or 28, sometimes it's 27, 28, I should say 28. So and my goal was to break 2:35. I know every time I ran a marathon, I still have my goal. So I didn't know the competition. I was pretty naive about that. I was not doing any research. So and Boston, in some way, it didn't start very well. I went to the start of the race and placed myself with the top women. And then Jack Semple, this great guy that Catherine knows well, he yelled at me and he said, "You don't belong in the front." And then I was barely speaking English, but I could understand that he didn't want me in the front. And I don't know why. I had number 22, W22 was pretty good, being third in New York. And then I went in the back and I zigzagged about 5 miles before I got the first woman. That was Ellison Goodall, I remember. So the start was not great because I had to try to catch up the girls. So we're not supposed to go too fast at the beginning.
Right.
And my husband was there and I passed him. He said, "What are you doing there?" Because he was in front of me.
So you ran it faster then, because you didn't start in the front and they didn't have chips then. It was just gun time, right?
I guess. Yeah, no, we didn't have any chip. Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Not
so you ran it probably, well, you obviously ran it faster than the official time because you started back further.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Right, you get a couple more seconds there.
I never thought about that.
That's amazing. Wow.
Wow. That's right.
And was that the first time you ever ran the course, or did you practice on that course? Because it's not an easy course.
No, it was the first time. I didn't know the course much. I knew there was some hills at some point. I was strong uphill. I always been strong uphill. So I was not scared of it.
Right.
I just went on my pace and was like very concentrated on just myself, not the others.
Okay. Did you did they was like a negative split? Was that something that they taught people to try and do that year?
Yeah. Uh, to tell you the truth, I was running with the fields, so
Okay.
I'm not really sure I was looking that much at the pace I was doing at that time, but I don't even remember. But I'm sure the first 5 miles was probably too fast, and
Okay.
then I kept this pace. I was not calculating all that much. I'm not even sure I was training with pace so much. I when I started, 1980 was almost just 3 years after my first marathon, and I was training, but I was not going with the time with the watch all that much. I was going with the feel.
Right. Right. It
So
sounds like you're just like you've got a natural knack for it. Like,
yeah, I just listen to how I feel, and I go, and
right. And then
don't
you
don't
came back
think
the
about the
next,
pace so much.
right. So you came back the next year, 81, and you were fifth, but you were actually 3 minutes faster that year.
Hmm.
But you finished fifth. Then you came back 82 and 83, and you came in second both of those years. That's pretty tough to do, to stay at the top like that for 4 years in a row.
Yeah, it was the good year. I got some overtrain, and I think 1982 was not my best. But I learned from every time I learned something. Every year was improvement, and sometimes not improvement. And now that I analyze a little bit more, I know that the year that I didn't do so well is because probably I was doing too much and not good progression, and trying to do not enough rest, and it's really easy when you are at the top to go over the line, and I think I did that a couple of times.
Right. Right.
My stress fracture came from it too, and so when I give a lecture right now, I really tell everybody, about progression, and doing the good stuff at a good time,
Mm-hmm. You
listening to
preach.
your body, and every time you're doing something that's too much, it won't go well. It's
Yeah.
not worth it. Mm.
What are your thoughts on like stretching and stuff? So there's different philosophies on that.
I believe a lot in good stabilization. So
Okay.
working more on that core strength, and
Hmm.
the good stride. So learn to do the good striding, and not overstriding. At the beginning, I was a little bit an overstrider. So I learned to improve that, the cadency, and then to try to reach the 180 per minute. And that's when I hit the sub 230.
Oh wow.
So just something like that, can improve you.
Right.
And of course, maybe at the beginning I was not a midfoot that much, but so I became more a midfoot runner, and the plan at the midfoot plan, when you attack just the ground.
Hmm.
And all that, I improved very quickly on my stride. But the last thing that improved was really to try to reach that good cadence,
Yep.
180 per minute. It was a big thing for me. Mm.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's what they
And
preach.
then
The
running with
180.
gravity. So it's all that stuff, having the hip well placed, hip forward a little bit, and
Hmm.
having this stride that's not so short, because if you go fast, it won't be short anyway, because you have the power. So you're covering more between your legs. There's always more space because you're powerful. But it's not because you're gonna hit the ground farther in front. Your legs should always attack under your hip, always. And
Okay.
then you just improve your cadency, and then you run with the gravity, and everything's great.
Yeah. How about your shoulders and your back and like your arms?
The shoulder, you should try not to be, having your shoulder right around the back. So you should lift your torso, but not being so straight up, but going like the line, the head is in front of the line compared to your feet. But it has to be not a broken line, you see. It has to be like that and not like that.
Yep.
But you don't want your butt, you don't want to butt like that, because then it's not good. You don't have that good
right.
hip forward a little bit.
Okay.
This is the most important thing for me, around the hip. How strong are you there?
Your hips. Okay.
Yeah, because then you'll have a lot of imbalance.
Right.
It moves too much. If it moves too much, you'll have problem.
Yep.
And you end up with hip problem and knee problem and all, even bunion, because if you do that, then everything moves too much. IT band problem.
Yep.
Lower back.
Now, have you ever done yoga, like yoga for runners? Because it's very, it's good for your core, hips.
I do some yoga stretch, but I don't do too much yoga. But I used to do a little bit more sometimes. But when I stretch, there's some yoga position that I will take sometimes. Right. But the stretching, at the beginning, in our years, when I started running, we were stretching before races.
Right.
A lot more than now, because
right.
They say it's not so good. You don't have this explosive that you want, and the fiber get a little bit too much.
Right.
Too much stretch, I think.
It's to be too tight when it's cold, and you can injure yourself.
Yeah. So yeah. I do. Sometimes I will stretch if I feel I have a tight calf or something like that. But it will be quick, not long, not 20, 30 seconds of stretch. It would be like a stretch and then 2 seconds, then release, and then do it again 3-4 times, just to make it flexible.
Right.
And then the real long stretching, if I need it, would be after. I like to use a foam roller, and I think it helps a lot. It's like if you can use, if you don't have a massage so much, this is your friend.
Yeah.
It's one of the best friends. I even do some stabilization with it while I stretch. I will keep my trunk strong by doing some exercise. So there's a lot of stuff that I do with a foam roller.
Right.
And the fitness ball for my core, for my to have more strength.
So you're a massage therapist, or you have a massage therapist company right now, right? So you offer these services for people.
Yeah, I do work at home, and then I work outside also, some clients and some spa, some also. I live not so far from a big spa called it's in Mont Tremblant. A very well-known spa, and but now we all on hold.
Okay.
So,
well,
I don't know when I'll start over again. I love my job. I love to help people being aware of their body, because I think this is the best advice I can give to people. Listen to the signal. Yep. Whatever you feel somewhere, tell you your body's talking to you. And sometimes it will start being a plantar fascia. But the problem is not even the plantar fascia, is in your core. There's something tight, and your back is not good. Near the abdomen, there's something that's not working. So I work a lot with that way, like acupuncture. We have we have 13 river of energy called meridian. And if some meridian at the source which like more like in the abdomen a lot, if something is wrong there, then you will feel it in your feet.
Mm-hmm.
It's reflexology, or in your hands, and even in your face. The body is marvelous, and it will tell you, and you feel like some sore cheek, but maybe this is your body talking again.
Right.
So just listen to your body, and whatever you feel, I have something hurting him, just think. Or if it's in your feet, don't go to the podiatrist right away and get orthotic. No, get your body in better shape. Feel where it's tight,
Right.
and then work on it.
That's great advice. That's great advice.
I still do it every morning. I analyze my body. And I have, of course, I have the way of doing it. I do trigger point. I even have you call it a terracain that will help me massage myself, and I can take care of my body every morning. I take care of my body.
That's great. That's amazing.
I love it. I think it's talking to me. I won't even tell you that I'm using even the pendulum to tell me where I am today.
Right. Well,
it's just awesome. I think this is the intelligence that you have in here that tells you.
Right.
You have to be so in touch there, and you have your answers.
I think people, it's training. You know, some people need to be trained in how to do that, to listen to their body.
In some way, yeah. I was not like that at the beginning, and I can tell you, I made some mistake of having some surgeries.
Mm-hmm.
Cut the tendon because I had a plantar fasciitis on one side, bunion surgery, and I know now that was a meridian that wasn't happy. And it's awesome, but of course you need kind of to know a little bit like that. But that's what I'm telling my client, and when they come to my place, I explain to them, you see these things you have there, I'm gonna tell you where it starts.
Okay.
And this is like, I'm so happy to do that, because it's like you have the answer. So it's like winning a marathon. I got it for you.
Right.
And I will tell you what to do now, and then I will help you. So it's like, it's a satisfaction. I love this job because of that, because for me, the body is a marvelous machine.
Mm-hmm.
But to work well, you need to take care of it.
Right.
You cannot ignore. If you have something, don't ignore it, because you'll end up with pills or with surgery. And for me, it didn't work so well. It gave me imbalance. The first surgery was a bunion. It gave me an imbalance because they make my first big tooth shorter. And then I started compensating. So my right side, my right knee became overworked, and then I tore the meniscus, and so on and so on and so on.
Yeah.
It never stopped since then. But it started with being rushed too much, and then not treating the source.
Right. It was treating a symptom and not the source.
This is the secret.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to your body and don't rush.
Well, I can tell you this, in this brave new world that we have right now, where everybody's homebound, I bet you could get a lot of customers on our page and just do a video call with them. You can do your service online and just do it through a video call and watch what they do and give them advice.
Yes, that's right.
Right.
Good idea. Maybe we can work together, because I'm no good at that stuff.
We got 10,000 members here.
Great idea. I like to help people. Sometimes on Facebook, there's groups that are so sad, I can't run anymore. The doctors tells me I shouldn't run. I just feel like, and sometimes I write to them, but sometimes they're too far. But I tell them, just go at the source of the problem. Don't think that's it. I had arthrosis with my knee, and then, because I compensated for so long. And then I got that stem cell therapy, And then it's much better, but it's not great. That's why, I have still to be careful, but I can run a lot more since then. Now I want to be gentle. I want to be gentle because I know I did some stuff that wasn't good for my body. I don't want to go back there. So that's why I was training for Boston in April, but then I fell on a wet floor, broke my knee. The universe didn't want me to do that.
Oh, wow.
So now I'm not so sure I want to run Boston again. Maybe I'll get there, celebrate my 40th anniversary. If it's in September, maybe it won't anymore. Huh? We don't know. But if I'm there, I think I learned my lesson this winter that maybe I don't need to run another marathon. And in some way, my first marathon was in L'Île d'Orléans, Quebec in 3 hours 44. And my last marathon was in Boston in 3:44.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna go get the proof. Okay, just wait a minute.
Okay.
So see, this was Boston Marathon in 2 hours in 2010. It was my 25th anniversary. No, 210 was my 30th anniversary.
30.
So
yeah.
Can you see?
Yes. Yep. 3:44:17. There you go.
So I think I buckled it. And I'm very happy that in 210 I did the same time as my first marathon. So maybe I did it. That's it. I just need to run a 10K if I go in Boston in September.
Right. Well, we'll all be there, no matter what you do. We'll be there to cheer you on, whether you run or not. You can come and meet us all. We're going to be at the after party at the Cheeky Monkey. You can come
Okay, good.
Right.
So hopefully they will do the marathon in September. We don't know yet. Huh?
Let's hope. Yeah. Well, we should keep training. Train like it's going to happen.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, you've got one of the rare distinctions too, as being one of the first women to ever run. Well, you ran in the first Olympics. They didn't allow women in the Olympics, or the marathon wasn't even an event in the Olympics for women until 1984. How was the buildup for that, and just the excitement for the Olympics?
I did quite well 6 months before by winning the Los Angeles Marathon on the same course.
Oh, wow.
And first in 83, I was fifth in the World Championship in Finland, Helsinki, Finland. So I was very happy with that. I was fifth, but I made some mistake at the water station. It was pretty warm on that day. And I lost my concentration and lost the pack, the front group. So I regretted a little bit. I said, oh, maybe I could have been third, get a medal and all that. So I learned from that, and I went training the year after for Los Angeles because it was the course for the Olympics. I said that would be good experience. So I went to train in Tallahassee because I knew that was hot and hilly in the same time. So that was good training. I love Tallahassee to run for Boston, to train for Boston, by the way. I think it's perfect out there. It's warm, it's hilly. So I was ready for Los Angeles, and then I practiced visualization during my training to keep my concentration, because that was one mistake I could do sometimes, not being so concentrated, with the pack, and then stay competitive, not just run for myself, but stay with people, because it helps to be in the group. And also I practice visualization, like I was doing acceleration at the end to get away from competition. And it worked there. And at the start of the race, I felt so strong physically, mentally. I felt like dancing. I remember that waking up in the morning and say, geez, I feel great. And then I ran that race with Arnaud Dain, and she's a strong runner and very, very quick too. She won the medal in the Commonwealth game and all that. And then at the end, she was still with me. And I remember practicing what I trained for, like acceleration. I did probably four acceleration at the end. And I won. So that was a great experience. Our mental can work also, you know, being physically ready, but also mentally strong, and practicing visualization is one other secret that I like to say in my lecture. So I won, and I was like in the favorite, you know, before Los Angeles. I remember saying that. Because of that, probably, because of my 5th place in the World Championship. So I put some pressure on me. And after winning Los Angeles in February, I went back training by myself. And it was one mistake I did so many times in my career. I came back too soon. I didn't recover well enough. And I had a very bad shin splint on one side. And I was hurting a lot. And so I tried some treatment. I even tried some medication that they use on horse called the MSO, I think. It wasn't good because I got infected with that, because it goes through the skin. It's not a good thing. And so I got very injured then, infected. I couldn't run. So I couldn't do the tries in Ottawa. And then they pre-selected me because of my time and my 5th place. So I went training by myself in Colorado. That was probably not so good, being stubborn like I am. And so I trained very well there, but maybe didn't use massage therapy enough. And I was not a massage therapist. So I got some tightness. I went through all the training, and then San Diego the week before, I started feeling something in my hip. Got to see the guy there that was for the Canadian team, a massage therapist. And I thought I was okay. I did my time trial, was good. And then I end up in the race of the 30K with very, very bad calf cramp. It was really, I couldn't run in it. So I had to stop. So it was great to be on the first, you know, Olympic for women, but also it's one of my worst experiences, I would say. You know, I didn't feel good about having to drop out, and I was expecting to do well. So it's not a good feeling. The World Championship is the best souvenir for me in some way. I was happy to be an Olympian, but it didn't go so well.
Yeah, well, I've been there. I didn't get to the Olympics, so it's a little different. But I've had the DNF in a race. I actually had a DNF at mile 24. Believe it or not, I was so close, and I could. My legs seized up, and I was laying down on the street, and I couldn't move. And there was nothing I could do.
In Boston one year, you know, after 2010, I tried again. I think it's in 2015. But I was excited, of course. And I went out too fast for the shape I had. And it was quite a cold day. And I suffered hypothermia. I had to stop at 25K. It was a mistake. So sometimes, you know, you have to be very careful, not going out too fast.
Right. It's
and do the good training and not starting out at a pace where, you know, you're not there.
Right.
It's all sort of thing that can happen in a marathon. It's a long way.
Right. You're like me, the school of hard knocks. I learned the hard way.
I was runner up, you know, second place many times, and then.
But you still.
I think if I would start again my career, I would be better at all that. You know, I started being, as a jogger, and then I think I learned through it. I learned all through my careers, and now what I know would be great to start over again.
Yeah. But I mean, you weren't done 1984. You still won in 1988. You won the grandma's marathon.
Oh, that year was tough for me because I had those two surgeries in a row, 2 years in a row. And so for Montreal, it wasn't my place. Of course, I wanted to win, and I wanted to qualify for the '88 Olympics. So, but physically, with two surgeries in 2 years, I lost some shape there. And so I started working a lot on my mental visualization with Chariots of Fire. I imagined the course, I imagined the crowd.
Yeah.
And then finally, I'm sure I was about 70% ready physically, but I was 100% mentally. And I did that race, and I remember the crowd encouraging me, but I was like in a tunnel. And at the end, there was a girl, another Quebec girl that was pretty good. And she was after me. But I wanted so much, and I visualized, in my mental preparation that I was going to win, and I won. But I didn't realize, I didn't prepare mentally, with that girl behind me. So I really finished scared and
right,
very tired. But I broke that finish line, and I broke the ribbon, and that's what I was prepared for, and that happened very well. But then that year was tough too, because we needed two time to be selected for the Olympics. So after that, it was in September, I started feeling sick, cold. But then I remember telling my husband at that time, "Oh, I cannot rest. I I need to do another time soon. So I cannot rest. I'm gonna do my interval training, even if I'm sick." And then finally, I had about three cold that year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to London because I said it's flat. Maybe it's gonna be faster than Boston. Then in London with the cold, I trained with. I arrived in London a little bit tired and maybe jet lag a bit. So I didn't run as well as I wanted. But the three girls in Boston that were there from Quebec,
mm-hmm.
They were all faster. So they had that qualifying time. So I was not selected yet. So my last time was in Grandma. I said, that's my last chance. I go for it. But do you know what? I ran the marathon with a cold. So I won it. I won a diamond necklace.
Oh, wow.
But I was not selected because I had a cold. So I ran again in the 2:30 something, not fast enough compared to the three girls in Boston. So I missed my chance. And again, my advice is, it's not worth running if you're not ready. We cannot put the cart in front of the beef, of the cattle, huh?
Right.
It's the same.
Yeah.
In French, there's a fable. Rien ne sert de courir, il faut partir à point. It's La Fontaine who said that. So it's like the hare and the turtle. The turtle, She will take her time and she will get to the finish line before the hare.
Right.
So
that's great advice.
It's a mistake. It's a really mistake. You're sick, take some rest. It's not worth. It's not worth. You're not going to be succeeding like that. And I had the proof. I missed this Olympic that I could have done pretty well because I was in good shape.
Mm-hmm.
And my last Olympic I tried was 92. But then it was the end of my career. It was tough, but I was still in pretty good shape.
Mm-hmm.
Then I did the 10K in Phoenix, and I was pretty nauseous. At that time, I was training Colorado. So I went to Phoenix for a 10K. Then I finished very nauseous. And then I didn't know why. So I went to a sauna. I came out of the sauna. I was very, very dizzy. And then the girl talked to me, and because she had a child, she said, "Are you pregnant, maybe?" I look at her. And then I had the test, and I was pregnant.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
So my
Wow.
son, Yannick, is my gold medal.
Oh, there you go. Wow.
It's a big thing, because I was almost 40.
Right.
So
That's better
universe
than any
always
medal.
bring us what we need,
Yep. I was 42 when I had my last child.
Oh, okay.
not that
My
I
husband, was 46.
Okay. Yeah. Not that I had the child. It's a little harder for the women than the men.
Oh yeah, I know, but you still have to raise it. It's something. Okay.
Right. Yeah, she's roaming around here somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Her name is Peyton Olivia.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a nice name.
She's she'll be 5 in 1 more month, actually. Yeah.
Oh,
So every day she's got a new thing on her list for her
it's
birthday.
great at that age.
Yeah.
But every age is kind of a surprise. They grow so quick.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I have two older ones too. I have a 20-year-old
Oh my God.
and an 18-year-old. Yeah. So, and they're 3 girls. So I'm
Okay.
surrounded by women. I have 4 sisters.
That's good. That's good
3
for
daughters.
boys. That's good for boys.
Right.
They say every man should have a wife, a woman in their life. So you have 4. You're lucky.
I have 4. Yes, 4 and 4 sisters. I have a mother-in-law, grandma, 2 mother-in-laws and a grandmother-in-law.
Maybe that's why you're nice. You're nice. You have a good personality because you've been raised around women.
I've been beaten down.
No.
So this year, yeah, I didn't realize it's the 40th anniversary of your win. So you're definitely coming. It's just a matter of whether you run or not, but you will be there, you think?
Yes, I just wonder if they won't cancel it, but
Well,
I will be. Yeah, I will be going. Even I was supposed in April to be part of the clinic for Bill Squire's book.
Okay. Wow.
So I was happy to do it. Having Patty Catalano was in the clinic with me, and Bill Squires has been a little advisor for me. When I won the Boston in when I was. No, I met him when I was second to John Benoit in 1983. I ran my best time of 2:29 there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's it. And I went to the World Championship. And for the World Championship, I met Bill while I was in Kennebunk, Maine. And he gave me some advice. I went on a napkin in the restaurant. We met him, and he was very nice to give me some advice, some type of workout I could do. Fun workout that was good for me because I didn't like to be so scheduled, and it was like some kind of fartlek, scheduled fartlek. And I like the way he told me also to not work on a 7-day cycle, because the long run coming every week, sometimes it's too much, on 10-day cycle is better. So he gave me some good advice that helped me, and I was 5th in the World Championship, so I was pretty happy. Wow. So a great guy, so I was happy to be part of the clinic.
That's great. Well, hopefully everything does go through in September.
Yeah, that will be there again, but hopefully in September they will be able to make it for the Boston. That would be nice, because that way I won't have the chance to celebrate my 40th anniversary.
You'll have to wait again, unfortunately.
Yeah, I will celebrate with my friends, and maybe if my body really wants to, I can run the marathon. But my best advisor, which is my husband, Gilles Lapierre, He looks at me and said, why don't you give up doing marathon? It's so much training right now because I'm not the 2:30 marathoner anymore. So it means long runs on my legs, and my right knee is not so happy. So it's much better with that stem cell therapy, but it's still not, there's still some arthrosis there.
Right.
So
Well, you can
I'm
try
not
it
sure.
that
I think if I listen to my wise husband, I don't know, I won't do marathon anymore.
way. You can try the Galloway method, the run walk method. You'll definitely be able to finish if you do that.
I know, but I don't feel like being so slow. I don't want to run slower than 4 hours. Even 4 hours, I think it's too long. So I don't know. I think I'm spoiled, running 2:30
Right.
was so much fun.
Right.
And then
It's
4 hours doesn't mean like so much fun for me.
it's that competitiveness. You still have it. Yeah.
Yeah, inside, that's it. Yeah, that's
Right.
what.
Now,
Yeah.
I'm from Philadelphia. Have you ever run the Philadelphia Marathon or any races around Philadelphia?
I used to run half marathon there. It's one of my best half marathon. Yeah.
The Philadelphia Distance Run, is that the one? Yeah.
Yeah. I did
It's
the
a
half
rock and roll.
marathon there, and somewhere around 113 or 114 at that time was pretty good.
Yep.
Mm.
It
was a great race. I like it. Flat.
It's flat. It's very
Yeah.
flat, and it's pretty. You run around the river and around the art museum, and you get to run past City Hall and Independence Hall and all the historic monuments and stuff. It's a nice course.
Beautiful architecture there. I remember.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, they do. They have the half and a full in November, so I'll invite you now if you want to do either the half or the full. You can be my special guest. It's going to be a great weekend. The Boston group, the Boston Buddies, will be coming down and running that day as well.
Okay.
It's going to be Marty Clark's. It's going to be his comeback race. He's going to be running that year.
Ooh.
Marty Clark's on our page. He's the guy that does the push-up challenge, and he's extremely positive. He's an extremely positive guy, but he's been hurt. He's been injured for the past year. So it's going to be his comeback race. So everybody's going to try and get down to Philly.
Tell him not to rush.
Yes, that's true.
Progressively, he will get it.
Right.
If his body wants, the body will decide.
That's true. The body,
even if we do sometimes it's not the best thing. Sometimes it's okay. Just we have to listen to ourselves.
Right. Right. Against better judgment, usually. Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard for us, runner, to do to make the decision. We want too much. I see that a lot. And even at that period of that COVID-19, I think everybody should be careful not to overdo it, because it's not worth, like in 1988, I got those cold over the colds, and then because your system is tired, your immunity is too low, and then you get the virus very easy. Mm-hmm. So, and the fast stuff, especially the intervals, everything that's too fast will put your body in acid, pH will be too acid. Right. And so if it's slow, it's very easy for the virus to get to you. Right. And then I think that's probably what happened with me in 88. I was concentrating too much on speed work, maybe, and then it's not good for your body. So a good balance again.
A lot of wise words, a lot of wisdom there. That's where.
Yeah, I like that picture behind. Just feel well grounded to Mother Earth, because you will know what the goal and the do and in the be. And so if the little boy, which is the do, and the little girl, which is the be, are dancing the sacred dance and together, then everything would be great. And the universe, like a tree, well grounded, the top of the tree is reaching to the sky, and the universe come back to you the way it needs to be.
I love it. I love your spirit. I love everything about you. I so much appreciate you taking the time to speak with me.
It comes with my white hair, I guess.
I do think that people on this page would love to get consultations or things or with you, and you can do it online. So can people try and send you a message on Facebook if they want a consultation or something? Or
yeah, sure.
All right, we'll figure something out. I would be
pleased to help. It's always better, if I can see the place, but I can give advice.
Right. Well, you can watch it on video. Yeah. So, all right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. And you were worried about filling up an hour. We could probably go for another 2 hours.
I said I have not much to say. My life is too simple.
Well,
just enjoying life is great right now. I don't need to score anymore, so I like it that way right now. Before it was a little different, but feeling great in me, in my heart, in my mind, in my body is what I want.
Yep. Well, you're a true inspiration, especially to the people on this page, a lot of runners. So hopefully in September 14th, we'll be able to see you at the start line and then celebrate at the finish line.
Good luck to all of you Boston buddies, and I like to read about you all, so continue, but take care of yourself, just listening very well, because your body is going to tell you what he wants, your heart too.
Definitely. Wise words. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Have a great
Lots of love in that period. That take care of the people you like.
Yes. Well, have a great weekend. And again, thank you. Hopefully you can join us tonight too for the Catherine Switzer event.
Yeah, we'll listen to that. It's at 6, huh? At 6?
6 o'clock our time. Yes.
Okay, I will listen to it. I can't wait.
All right.
Namaste.
Namaste. I love it. Love it. Bye-bye.
Bye.